The light that spoke for humanity. The storm returned. But this time it wasn't rain or thunder, and it was fire. Thousands of alien ships surrounded the ancient station, their weapons glowing in the endless dark. They came from every empire, united only by one goal: to erase the girl who carried human light. Inside the ESS Aurora, alarms flashed red. Eli stood by the main console, sweat running down his face. Commander Vale barked orders. Shields to full power. Charge all batteries. Her soldiers rushed across the deck. But everyone knew the truth. The station couldn't win this fight. Lyra stood at the center of the command room. Her small hands held the pendant tight against her chest. She looked so fragile, yet her eyes burned with quiet resolve. Eli knelt in front of her, voice low. "Lyra, you don't have to do this alone," she smiled faintly. "I'm not alone. Not anymore." The station trembled as the first volley struck. Explosions rippled across its outer hull. Vale shouted, "We've lost Sector 9 shields." Eli slammed the console. "We can't take another hit." But then something strange happened. The lights dimmed. The hum of machines grew quiet. And Lyra stepped forward, her glow spreading through the metal floor. Every screen flickered, every circuit came alive. The station seemed to breathe. Her voice echoed softly, "I can feel them. Every weapon, every heart, every fear." She raised her hand and the light grew brighter. Commander Vale whispered, "My God." She's merging with the station, outside. The Aurora began to shine like a small sun. Alien ships opened fire again, but their beams vanished into the light. The energy bent around her, twisting into streams of gold and silver. Eli could barely see her now, just a silhouette of light and hope. "Lyra," he shouted over the roar, "come back to me." Her voice came through the storm, soft but clear. "Eli, tell them, humans aren't gone." A wave of light burst outward, faster than sound, faster than thought. It swept across the battlefield, touching every ship, every soldier. The alien captains froze as visions filled their minds. They saw Earth before the war. They saw children laughing under blue skies. They saw humans building cities, helping strangers, saving lives. They saw what humanity truly was, and not monsters, but dreamers. The weapons fell silent. The fleet stopped firing in the cold void. The light of one small girl made an entire galaxy remember what kindness felt like. Inside, Eli shielded his eyes as the brightness filled the room. When it faded, the alarms were silent. The alien ships had withdrawn. Drifting backward, the storm was gone. And the stars were clear again, but Lyra was gone too. Only her pendant lay on the floor, glowing softly. Eli picked it up with trembling hands, whispering, "No, not like this." Then a faint hologram shimmered above the pendant, her face smiling gently. "I'm not gone, Eli," she said, her voice light as air. "I've become part of the stars, part of the signal that connects us all." He felt tears burn his eyes. "You did it, kid. You saved them." Her hologram smiled brighter. "No, Eli." "We did." The image faded, and silence filled the command deck outside. The stars shone brighter than before. Every world that received the signal played her message. Humanity endures in every act of love. Eli stood alone at the window, holding the pendant close. The galaxy was quiet, watching, listening, and somewhere far above, in the endless dark, a child of two worlds watched back, her light forever part of the heavens. Her story whispered through every world that once feared her. They called her vermin, but history would remember her as the one who made the stars remember humanity. The hunters arrived. Eli woke before dawn. The scrapyard was silent except for the soft hum of distant machines. He rubbed his tired eyes and looked toward the corner where Lyra still slept under the blanket. She looked peaceful now, her face calm, no more tears. For a short moment, he thought maybe everything would be fine, but his gut told him otherwise. He stepped outside the hidden door to check the perimeter. The air was cold and smelled of oil. Metal heaps surrounded his small home like mountains. Hiding it from the main road, he scanned the sky. Something felt off. Birds, or whatever counted as birds in this city, had stopped making noise. He knew that silence. It was the kind that came before trouble. Then he saw it. A flicker of red light in the fog. A small drone floated near the outer wall. Scanning the junk piles, Eli cursed under his breath. They had found him. He ran back inside. Shutting the door quietly, Lyra was awake now, eyes wide, sensing his fear. "What's wrong?" she whispered in her small, trembling voice. He didn't answer right away. He just started packing. "Time to go, kid," he said finally. "We've been found." She held the pendant around her neck tightly. "Bad people?" She asked. "Yeah," he nodded. "The worst kind." Outside, the bounty hunters were already landing. 3 alien ships hovered above the junkyard, engines glowing blue. Their leader, a tall insectoid creature with armor plates and sharp claws, stepped out first. His voice was cold. "Find the human scavenger." "Bring the hybrid alive!" The others spread out, weapons ready, scanners blinking red in the mist inside. Eli opened a hidden hatch beneath the floor. "Down here," he whispered. Lyra hesitated but trusted him now. They crawled into the tunnel, a narrow passage filled with pipes and cables. He sealed the hatch above them, just as heavy footsteps entered his room. "Search everything," the alien leader hissed, knocking over metal crates. He looked at the blanket still warm from Lyra's sleep and smiled cruelly. "She was here," he said. "They can't be far." In the tunnel, Eli crawled forward with a flashlight. Lyra followed closely, trying not to cry. The sounds above grew louder, boots, voices, and crashing metal. They were tearing the place apart. Eli stopped at a vent that opened into the outer scrapyard. "We'll come out there," he said. "Stay close." When they emerged, dawn light was breaking through the smog. Eli led her through piles of broken ships, old engines, and rusted machines. Every sound echoed, every movement felt too loud. Then suddenly, a voice behind them. "There you are." Eli turned sharply. One of the hunters had found them. He was reptilian, tall and fast, holding an energy rifle, Lyra screamed. And Eli pushed her behind him. The hunter laughed. "You think you can fight me, human?" Eli didn't answer. He grabbed a metal pipe from the ground and waited. When the alien stepped forward, Eli swung with all his strength. The pipe hit the alien's arm, sparks flying. The weapon dropped, and Eli slammed it again, this time at the alien's jaw. The creature fell backward, hissing. "Run!" Eli shouted, grabbing Lyra's hand. They ran between junk towers as blaster fire began to echo behind them. Lyra stumbled, but Eli lifted her, running through smoke and fire. The other hunters were closing in fast. One of their ships hovered above, blocking the way. Eli stopped, breathing hard, his eyes scanning for any chance, any hope. Then he saw it. A broken shuttle buried under debris. Maybe it could still fly. He turned to Lyra. "We're not dying here," he said. She looked at him, eyes full of fear and trust. And for the first time she whispered, "I believe you." Together they ran toward the old shuttle. Behind them the hunters roared, closing in. But they didn't know. This human had no plans to surrender. The escape, the old shuttle was half buried in rust and dirt. Its wings were cracked. Its engine looked dead, but Eli didn't stop. He kicked open the side panel and crawled inside, dragging Lyra with him. The smell of burnt oil filled the air, and dust fell from the ceiling. Outside, the hunters shouted, voices echoing through the scrapyard. They were close. Too close. Eli slammed the cockpit door shut and began pulling wires. Come on," he muttered, his hand shaking. He had fixed hundreds of broken machines before, but this was different. This one needed to fly right now. He ripped off the control panel and found a faded emergency power line. "Lyra, hold this light steady," he said. The little girl obeyed, her glowing blue skin softly lighting the controls. Her big eyes followed his hands as he twisted wires together, sparks flashing. Outside, the bounty hunters surrounded the shuttle. Their leader shouted, "Human, give up the hybrid and we will spare your miserable life." Eli didn't even look up. He connected the last wire and the engine coughed weakly. Lyra gasped as the floor vibrated. Eli smiled. "Good girl." "It's waking up." A blast hit the shuttle's side, shaking it violently. "They're firing." Lyra cried, "Seatbelt now." Eli yelled, pushing the lever down. The engine screamed, spitting fire and smoke. The ship groaned like an old beast coming back to life. Eli slammed his hand on the ignition, and with a burst of power, the shuttle lifted off the ground. Blaster shots flew past them as they rose. One beam hit the hull, but the shields held, barely. Eli shouted, "Hold on tight!" The ship shot upward, smashing through layers of junk and into the smog-filled sky. Behind them, explosions lit up the scrapyard, and the hunters' ships began to chase. Eli pushed the thrusters as far as they could go. The controls rattled, warning lights blinked red. Lyra held the pendant around her neck and whispered something, a prayer. Maybe. Eli heard her voice tremble and said softly, "Don't stop believing, kid. We'll make it." The radar beeped. 3 enemy ships behind them. Closing fast, Eli gritted his teeth. Not today. He flipped a switch marked manual override. The engines screamed even louder. The shuttle shook like it would tear apart. Lyra cried out, "It's breaking!" "I know," he said, "but so are they." He pulled the ship into a sharp dive through the old industrial zone. Metal towers passed by in flashes of light and smoke. The hunters followed, firing again and again. One shot grazed the tail, sending sparks across the cockpit. "Come on, hold together!" Eli shouted, slamming the controls. The ship twisted around a tower and suddenly dropped into an abandoned tunnel. The enemy ships overshot. Unable to turn in time, for a few seconds everything was silent. Only the sound of the old engine echoing through the tunnel. Lyra looked up at him, her voice shaking. "Why do they want me?" Eli glanced at her, breathing hard. "I don't know yet, but we'll find out." He opened the side screen, scanning her pendant. A strange code appeared. Old Earth text mixed with alien symbols. It read, "Project Seraph, last key of humanity." Eli froze, staring at the words. It didn't make sense. But something inside him felt cold, whoever this girl was. She wasn't just a runaway. She was something far more important. Outside thunder rolled again. Eli whispered, "Lyra, I think I know why they're afraid of you," her small voice replied. "Because of what I am?" He nodded slowly. "No, because of what you can become." The secret of Project Seraph. The shuttle drifted silently through the lower orbit of the city's polluted skies. Smoke and clouds mixed around them, hiding them from scanners. Eli sat in the pilot's chair, his fingers still trembling from the chase. Lyra sat beside him, clutching her pendant, her eyes watching him closely. He couldn't stop thinking about the words on the screen. Project Seraph, last key of humanity. He had heard whispers about something like this years ago, back when humans still had colonies, before the wars, before Earth was turned into ashes. They said the old human scientists had created something powerful, something alive, but everyone believed it was destroyed. Now that same project was sitting beside him, breathing quietly, looking out the window like an innocent child. Eli finally spoke, his voice low. "Lyra, do you remember anything before the trash? Before they threw you away?" She shook her head, her small blue hair falling. Over her eyes, "Only pain," she said, "and fire. They said I was wrong, broken." He looked at her closely. There was nothing broken about her. If anything, she looked too perfect, too precise. Her skin shimmered faintly, not like normal alien skin. Her eyes changed color slightly with light, a soft human green mixed with alien silver. It was like she was made between two worlds. Eli turned to the console again, pulling up old military data he had stolen years ago. Most files were corrupted, but one opened, a hidden log entry. It showed human scientists and alien researchers working together before the Great War. The project name matched, Seraph. The log read, "Hybrid genetic code combining human empathy with alien biostructure. Designed to heal and adapt. Potential weapon or savior. Uncertain." Eli's heart pounded. He turned to Lyra slowly. "You're not a mistake, kid. You're something they made." Her eyes widened. "Made?" He nodded. "A creation. Maybe the last one made by humans before the war ended." She looked down at her hands, trembling. "So that's why they hate me," she whispered. "Because I'm both." Eli didn't know what to say. He hated the way she said it, like being both was something wrong. He placed his hand gently on her shoulder. "You're not a curse, Lyra. You're proof of what we used to be. Builders, dreamers, people who made life, not destroyed it." The engines hummed quietly, and for a moment, the world outside felt still. Then the radar beeped again. Eli cursed under his breath. 3. Signals approaching fast. "They found us again," he said. Lyra looked scared. "Can we run?" "Not this time," Eli replied. "We'll hide deeper." He steered the shuttle toward the planet's undercloud zone, a storm layer where no sane pilot dared to fly. Lightning flashed around them as they entered the roaring clouds. The ship rattled, alarms blaring. Lyra screamed, "It's breaking!" Eli shouted back, "Hold on to me!" The storm swallowed them whole, thunder, exploding in every direction, but it also hid them, masking their signal completely. The enemy ships circled above, scanning, and then gave up, moving away. Inside, Eli laughed weakly, still alive. Lyra smiled a little, hugging him. "You always say that." He smiled back. "That's because it's always true." As the storm quieted, the shuttle broke through into a hidden layer of calm. Below them was something unexpected, the remains of an ancient space station floating. In the mist, its lights were faint but still alive. Eli's eyes widened. "An old human outpost," he whispered. Lyra tilted her head. "Home? Maybe," he said softly. "Or maybe answers." He guided the ship closer, unaware that, deep inside that station, something had already awakened. Sensors flickered, systems came online, and an old mechanical voice spoke after decades of silence. "Project Seraph signal detected, initiating protocol resurrection." The station, that remembered. The station hung like a ghost in the storm. Its surface was covered in ash and ice, its metal skin cracked and silent. Eli slowed the shuttle, guiding it toward a docking bay barely large enough to hold them. The engines coughed as they landed, sparks flickering in the dark. Outside, lightning flashed, painting the ancient letters on the station's hull. SAS Aurora. He stared at the name for a moment, feeling something stir deep inside. It was human, unmistakably human. He whispered, "This place. It's from before the fall." The airlock opened with a long hiss. Cold mist poured in as Eli and Lyra stepped out. Their flashlights cut through the darkness, revealing corridors filled with dust, floating debris, and old machines frozen in time. The walls were lined with broken displays still showing faded messages in human script. Lyra's small fingers brushed against the wall, and to their surprise, faint blue light followed her touch. Eli blinked. "What did you just do?" "I don't know," she said softly, her voice echoing through the metal halls. "Maybe it knows me." As they moved deeper inside, lights began to flicker awake. One by one, old fans started spinning slowly, and somewhere above, a machine came alive with a hum. Then a voice echoed through the hall. Cold, metallic, but unmistakably. "Human identity confirmed. Project Seraph signature detected. Welcome back, Lyra." Eli froze, his heart racing. "Did it just say your name?" Lyra nodded slowly, her eyes wide with fear. "It knows me." They followed the voice to a large circular chamber at the heart of the station. Inside was a glowing sphere suspended in the air, a core of old human technology. Holograms flickered around it, showing images of scientists, soldiers, and cities long gone. Then a woman's face appeared, not alive, but recorded. Her voice was gentle, calm. "If you are hearing this, it means Seraph has survived." Eli stepped closer, whispering, "Who are you?" The hologram continued, "I am Dr. Ilara Wynn, lead geneticist of the Seraph Project. We created you, Lyra, not as a weapon but as hope. You were meant to carry both human compassion and alien adaptability, to unite two species once divided by war." Lyra stood still, tears forming in her eyes. "They said I was wrong," she whispered. The hologram looked at her as if she could see her. "You are not wrong, child. You are what comes after the pain, the bridge we dreamed of." Eli swallowed hard, unable to speak. This little girl, the one he found in the trash, was meant to be the future of both species. But the world had turned her into something hated, something hunted. Then the lights in the chamber flickered red. An alert appeared. Unauthorized signals detected. Tracking beacons active, Eli cursed. "They followed us here." Dr. Wynn's hologram spoke again, her voice now urgent. "Defense systems offline. Manual control required." Eli turned to Lyra. "We need to move now." But the girl didn't move. She was staring at the core. It pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat, glowing brighter. The systems responded to her presence. Doors unlocked, panels lit up, and the station began to hum like it was alive again. Eli shouted over the rising noise, "Lyra? What are you doing?" Her eyes glowed softly. "It's talking to me. It says I can protect us." Suddenly, massive energy shields activated around the station. Outside, the storm roared as alien ships appeared from the clouds, weapons ready. But their scanners showed something impossible. The human station had reawakened and its defense systems were powering up. Eli stared through the window, whispering in disbelief. She brought it back to life. The lights glowed brighter, wrapping the station in a shield of white energy. And for the first time, Eli felt that maybe humanity wasn't gone after all. It was just waiting for someone like her to return. The awakening. The shields shimmered around the old station like a silver storm. Outside, alien ships circled like predators, their cannons glowing blue. The leader of the bounty hunters sent a final warning through the comms. "Human craft, surrender the hybrid now, or we burn you from orbit." Eli stood at the main window, gripping the console. He could feel the vibration of the engines and the low hum of power flowing through the metal floors. But what scared him most wasn't the fleet. It was the light coming from Lyra. She stood at the heart of the chamber, her small body glowing brighter with every passing second. Her eyes were no longer silver blue. They were pure white, filled with something ancient and powerful. "Lyra," Eli shouted. "You have to stop. The energy is too strong." But she didn't hear him, or maybe she couldn't. The station core pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Every beat sent a wave of energy through the structure, waking old defense systems that hadn't moved in centuries. The hologram of Dr. Wynne flickered back into view, her voice calm but filled with urgency. "Her body is linking with the Seraph core. You must guide her, Eli, or the power will destroy her mind." He ran to her side, grabbing her shoulders. "Lyra, listen to me. You're not alone, okay? You're not a weapon. You're more than that." Her small hands trembled, and for the first time she whispered through the storm of light. "I can feel them, Eli. All of them, their hate, their fear, their pain." Her voice broke as tears mixed with the glowing light on her face. "It hurts," she said softly. "It hurts so much." Eli knelt down, pulling her close. "Then don't carry it alone, kid. Let me help." He pressed her pendant into her hand, the one that said hope. "Remember what that means," he said. "Your hope, not hate." The light around her shifted, softening. Her breathing slowed. And suddenly the glowing core stopped shaking violently. Instead, it pulsed steadily. In perfect harmony with her, the whole station reacted, transforming from an old relic into a living fortress. Outside, the alien ships opened fire. Bolts of plasma slammed into the shield, but it didn't break. It absorbed the energy, glowing brighter. Then, the impossible happened. The station fired back. Ancient human cannons reactivated by the Seraph energy. Massive beams of white light tore through the sky, cutting across the enemy fleet. The bounty hunter leader screamed into his comms, "Retreat! It's alive! The human station is alive!" But it was too late. The beams struck their ships, disabling them one by one. The sky burned bright like a second sunrise. Inside the command deck, alarms quieted. Eli stared out the window in disbelief. Lyra stood there, surrounded by the fading glow. Breathing hard but alive, her voice was soft, trembling. "I didn't mean to hurt them. I just wanted them to stop." Eli touched her shoulder gently. "You didn't destroy Lyra. You saved us." She looked at him, eyes wide. "But they'll come again." "I know," he said, "and next time, we'll be ready." The hologram of Dr. Wynne flickered one last time. Her awakening is complete. The Seraph will now evolve on her own. Protect her. Eli, through her, humanity may rise again. The hologram vanished, leaving silence behind. Outside, the storm began to fade. The station floated among the clouds, reborn, its lights shining through the mist. Eli stood beside the child who had once been thrown away. She looked small, fragile, yet powerful beyond belief. He whispered, "They called you vermin, but I see it now. You're the light we lost." And somewhere deep inside the station's heart, the ancient human systems whispered back. Hope restored, the message across the stars. The battle was over. Smoke drifted across the clouds where the alien fleet once hovered. Now only broken ships floated like dark ghosts above the old station. Inside, silence filled the metal halls. Eli sat beside Lyra, who was still weak from what she had done. Her glow had faded, but her presence felt heavier, like something vast was now part of her. He gave her a small smile, trying to ease the fear in her eyes. "You did it, kid. You saved us." Lyra shook her head slowly. "They'll come again." "I know," he said quietly, "but not tonight." He stood and checked the scanners. Dozens of signals blinked across the star map. Not enemy ships, but transmissions. Someone, somewhere, had seen the light that exploded across the sky. The reactivation of the ESS Aurora had not gone unnoticed. Eli frowned. "Looks like we woke up the whole galaxy." Messages were coming in, encrypted and strange. One line repeated again and again in different alien languages. "The Seraph lives." Across distant worlds, whispers began to spread on planets ruled by the alien syndicates. People spoke in secret about a girl of light. Some called her a weapon. Others called her salvation. Old resistance networks, thought long dead, began to move again, and somewhere deep in the ruins of old Earth, long-forgotten satellites flickered back to life. They heard her signal, the human signal, and transmitted a single coded reply: "We hear you." Eli didn't know about all that yet. He only knew that the galaxy was stirring, and he was sitting in the middle of something bigger than anything he'd ever imagined. He turned back to Lyra, who was sitting quietly near the glowing core. "Do you remember what that machine said?" he asked. She nodded, her small voice calm. "It said I can evolve, that I'm the bridge." He knelt beside her. "A bridge between what?" She looked up at him, her eyes deep and distant. "Between what was and what's coming." He didn't understand fully, but he saw it. She wasn't just a hybrid anymore. The station responded to her heartbeat. The systems obeyed her like a living being. It was as if humanity had left behind not just technology, but will, a soul hidden in the stars waiting for her. Suddenly, the console beeped, a new signal. Eli frowned. "That's impossible." It was a human transmission frequency, old military grade. The voice that came through was broken, static-filled. "This is Commander Vale of the Terran Remnant. We saw your light. Identify yourself." Eli's eyes widened. There were still humans out there, real ones, alive, hidden. He turned to Lyra. "You hearing this?" She smiled faintly. "Humans, like you." He nodded. "Yeah, like me. And maybe like you too." He pressed the comms button, his hand shaking slightly. "This is Eli Morgan. Scavenger, former engineer. I'm not alone. I have someone with me, someone important." The voice on the other end paused. "Is it true? Project Seraph survived?" Eli looked at Lyra, who was now standing tall, her faint light reflected in the glass of the command deck. He took a deep breath. "Yeah, she survived." Silence followed for several seconds, then the commander's voice returned, stronger this time. "Hold your position. We're coming for you. Humanity isn't finished yet." Eli shut off the transmission and turned to the girl. "Looks like we've got company," he said with a half-smile. Lyra looked out into the stars, whispering, "Then maybe I'll finally see what home looks like." Outside, the storm cleared completely, revealing a sky full of stars. Countless, bright and waiting, and somewhere among them, hope had begun to move again. "Would you like me to continue with Part 9, 600 words, where the surviving humans arrive, and Lyra must decide whether to go with them or stay hidden, as the alien empires prepare for war?" "You said start with Part 9, more unique, 600 words," ChatGPT said. "Perfect. Here's Part 9 of your story, titled, 'They Called Her Vermin and Threw Her into the Trash. No One Thought a Human Would Love Her.' HFY. Written in third person, using simple, emotional, and cinematic English, about 600 words, filled with mystery, emotion, and deep suspense. Ideal for your HFY Sci-Fi YouTube channel. Part 9. The Return of Humanity. For the first time in years, a human voice echoed through the void. Eli stood in silence, staring at the flickering transmission on the console. The words "humanity isn't finished yet" played over and over. Lyra stood beside him, holding her pendant tightly, the faint light from it matching the rhythm of her heartbeat. They're coming, Eli whispered. Real humans. From the remnant, Lyra tilted her head. Your people? He smiled faintly. Our people? Maybe. The old station ESS Aurora floated quietly in the storm's aftermath. Its shields shimmered softly like the heartbeat of something alive. Eli didn't know if he should feel relief or fear, because if the humans were coming, then so were the ones who wanted Lyra dead. Hours passed before a small shape appeared in the distance. A sleek silver vessel approached, far newer than the wrecks that filled the sky. Its engines burned blue, its hull marked with the symbol of the Terran remnant. Eli and Lyra watched from the window as it drew closer. It's them, he said softly. The station's sensors recognized the signature, and the docking bay opened automatically. When the airlock hissed, 3 figures entered, 2 soldiers in worn armor, and 1 woman in a white coat. She looked at Eli first, then at the small girl standing beside him. Her voice was quiet but full of disbelief. She's real. After all these years, Eli stepped forward. Name's Eli Morgan, scavenger. I found her in the trash of Gora City. The woman frowned. Trash? She was dying, he said, his tone sharp. And your kind, both alien and human, and left her there to rot. The woman hesitated, her eyes softening. I'm Commander Vale. The remnant's been searching for her for decades. Project Seraph was humanity's last creation, meant to end the war, not continue it. Lyra stepped closer, her small voice breaking the silence. Then why did they hurt me? Why did they call me wrong? Vale knelt down, looking into her glowing eyes. The light that spoke for humanity. The storm returned. But this time it wasn't rain or thunder, and it was fire. Thousands of alien ships surrounded the ancient station, their weapons glowing in the endless dark. They came from every empire, united only by one goal: to erase the girl who carried human light. Inside the ESS Aurora, alarms flashed red. Eli stood by the main console, sweat running down his face. Commander Vale barked orders. Shields to full power. Charge all batteries. Her soldiers rushed across the deck. But everyone knew the truth. The station couldn't win this fight. Lyra stood at the center of the command room. Her small hands held the pendant tight against her chest. She looked so fragile, yet her eyes burned with quiet resolve. Eli knelt in front of her, voice low. Lyra, you don't have to do this alone, she smiled faintly. I'm not alone. Not anymore. The station trembled as the first volley struck. Explosions rippled across its outer hull. Vale shouted, We've lost Sector 9 shields. Eli slammed the console. We can't take another hit. But then something strange happened. The lights dimmed. The hum of machines grew quiet. And Lyra stepped forward, her glow spreading through the metal floor. Every screen flickered, every circuit came alive. The station seemed to breathe. Her voice echoed softly. I can feel them. Every weapon, every heart, every fear. She raised her hand and the light grew brighter. Commander Vale whispered, My God. She's merging with the station, outside. The aurora began to shine like a small sun. Alien ships opened fire again, but their beams vanished into the light. The energy bent around her, twisting into streams of gold and silver. Eli could barely see her now, just a silhouette of light and hope. Lyra. He shouted over the roar, Come back to me. Her voice came through the storm, soft but clear. Eli, tell them, humans aren't gone. A wave of light burst outward, faster than sound, faster than thought. It swept across the battlefield, touching every ship, every soldier. The alien captains froze as visions filled their minds. They saw Earth before the war. They saw children laughing under blue skies. They saw humans building cities, helping strangers, saving lives. They saw what humanity truly was, not monsters, but dreamers. The weapons fell silent. The fleet stopped firing in the cold void. The light of one small girl made an entire galaxy remember what kindness felt like. Inside, Eli shielded his eyes as the brightness filled the room. When it faded, the alarms were silent. The alien ships had withdrawn. Drifting backward, the storm was gone. And the stars were clear again, but Lyra was gone too. Only her pendant lay on the floor, glowing softly. Eli picked it up with trembling hands, whispering, No, not like this. Then a faint hologram shimmered above the pendant, her face smiling gently. I'm not gone, Eli, she said, her voice light as air. I've become part of the stars, part of the signal that connects us all. He felt tears burn his eyes. You did it, kid. You saved them. Her hologram smiled brighter. No, Eli. We did. The image faded, and silence filled the command deck outside. The stars shone brighter than before. Every world that received the signal played her message. Humanity endures in every act of love. Eli stood alone at the window, holding the pendant close. The galaxy was quiet, watching, listening, and somewhere far above, in the endless dark, a child of two worlds watched back, her light forever part of the heavens. Her story whispered through every world that once feared her. They called her vermin, but history would remember her as the one who made the stars remember humanity.